We can also graph linear equations using another form called standard form. Standard form looks like this: ax plus by equals c. Okay? A, B, and C are just standing for numbers. There are thousands of different numbers out there that A, B, and C could be. So that's why we always use variables. Okay? The main difference between standard form and slope-intercept form is that standard form has x and y on the same side of the equal sign together. Okay? Now to graph these, we have to find the x and y intercepts. So to find x-intercept, let y equal 0, or plug 0 in for y. And then to find your y-intercept, let x equal 0, plug 0 in for x. So this first example, so I'm going to find my x-intercept. So to find my x-intercept, I'm going to plug 0 in for y. Well, x minus 0 is not going to change anything, so I'm going to cover that up, so x equals 4. So now, if we want, we can go ahead and plot that. Okay, so I'm going to go and label x is positive, y is positive here, then going the other ways. So when you go to the right on the x-axis, it's positive. When you go to the left, it's negative. When you go up on the y-axis, it's positive. When you go down, it's negative. So my x-intercept is 4, so it's positive. So I'm going to go to the right on the x-axis 4 units and plot a point. Now, to find my y-intercept, I'm going to plug 0 in for x. So that's gone. So now, how do I get this negative y? How do I get the negative? Get rid of it. I divide by negative 1. So I have y equals negative 4. So now I'll go to my y-axis at negative 4 and plot a point. And now I will connect these with a straight line. Okay. So really what you're when you plug 0 in for x up here, this is gone, so you could cover this up. Okay? And so x equals 4. When you plug 0 in for y, it's gone. When you plug 0 in for x, the x is gone. So let's try this next one. I'm going to find my x-intercept, so 4x minus 5. Plug 0 in for y. Now negative 5 times 0 is 0. So this is gone. So 4x equals 20. I'm going to divide each side by 4. So x equals 5. So now we could go and plot that. So I'm going to label my x and y axes. So x-intercept, so I go to my x-axis at 5 and plot a point. Then find my y-intercept. So I'm going to plug 0 in for x. So 4 times 0 is 0, so this is gone. Divide by negative 5. You get y equals negative 4. So go to your y-axis at negative 4, plot a point. Now you can connect these with a straight line. Okay, you get the idea there. So the next one, I'm just going to go ahead and label my x and y axes with positive and negative for the directions. I'm going to find my x-intercept, so I'm going to plug 0 in for y. So 8 times 0 is 0, so this is gone. Now I'm going to divide it by negative 6. So I get x equals 6. So I could go and plot that. On the x-axis, I'm going right 6 units. Now my y-intercept, I'm plugging 0 in for x. So negative 6 times 0 is 0, so this is gone. How do I get the y all by itself? I divide each side by 8. So when I do that, I get negative 4.5. So now I go to my y-axis at negative 4.5. So I'm going to go down negative 4.5 units. So it's splitting negative 4 and negative 5. Then I can draw my line. So all you're doing is connecting your x and y intercepts, those 2 points, with a straight line. Special lines, so for example, x equals 7. So where does x equal 7 at? So remember, x-axis, positive to the right, negative to the left. Y-axis goes up and down, y to the sky, so it's positive. So x equals 7. So I go to the right 7 units. They don't tell us anything else, so it is a vertical line. At 7. Now remember, what is the slope of vertical lines? Slope equals undefined for vertical lines. Now for y equals negative 3, so my x is positive to the right, negative to the left, y is positive up, negative down. So y equals negative 3, so I go down 3 units, plot a point. Y equals are always horizontal lines. X equals are always vertical lines. So now my slope of a horizontal line is undefined. Now, what a nice thing about being able to graph different ways is that if you understand one way better than the other, then we can always change them over. So for example, these top ones, we can change these equations over to slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form, remember, is y equals mx plus b. So for this first one, I need to get y all by itself, so I'm going to subtract 15x from both sides. So I have 3y equals negative 15x plus 12. Now the y is not completely by itself, so I have to divide it by that number in front of the y, and I divide both sides. I divide everything. So y equals negative 5x plus 4. Because negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. The next one, I'm going to subtract 7x from both sides. And now there are multiple ways that we could do this. If I wanted to, I could add y and subtract 9. That's another way. And then divide each side by negative 1 here. So I have y equals 7x minus 9. The next one, I need to get y all by itself. So maybe what you could do is just underline what you have to get all by itself. Okay? You know, make things stand out to you. Okay? So for that last one, you know, underline the negative y or circle it. Do something that makes those stand out. So here I need to get negative 2y all by itself. So that means I need to subtract 3x and add 11. You can move multiple things at once. Okay? So we can move multiple things at once. So I'd have negative 2y equals negative 3x plus 11. Now divide each side by negative 2. So I have y equals 3 over 2x minus 11 over 2. So now if you'd like to, you can graph those okay, in slope-intercept form, if that what makes sense to you. Now, if you can understand them in standard form, then we can change them to standard form. Okay, remember, standard form is ax plus by equals c. X and y are on the same side of the equal sign. So for this first example, I need to move this negative 4x to the left side. So I'm going to add 4x. So I'd have 4x plus just one second, I'm sorry about this. Don't know what happened here, so I'll just restart this problem. So we're adding 4x to both sides. So I have 4x plus y equals negative 13. Standard form, x plus y equals c. So we have our x and y on the same side. Now this one, if you notice, you have 7x on the left side, 3y on the other side. So one thing you could do is you could subtract 3y from both sides and subtract 8, or we could subtract 7x. Okay, because this one we only have to move one term. So we have 8 equals negative 7x plus 3y. This is still standard form. X and y are on the same side. They're on the right side of the equal sign here. When on the last one, they're on the left side. It doesn't matter. If you want, mirror these around. So negative 7x plus 3y equals 8. And the last one, I'm going to subtract 5y because I have 5y minus 9, and then I have x and y on the right side already. So here I only have to subtract 5y, and x and y will be on the same side of the equal sign. Remember, it doesn't matter where x and y, they're on the right side, so if you want, write it negative 14x minus 7y equals negative 9. Alright, that is all for today, so have a great day.